I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 yo.
What's up, guys? We're back for another episode of the CRU Cast. I'm welcoming a couple of my great friends here. We got Jag and Ali. We're going to talk a little bit about a little bit further details on what's happened with the RCMP, and when they saw and heard about our first episodes, these guys had to get on because they've got some very, very specific experience with a very certain officer here locally. If you guys don't know, just to remind you, we are located in BC, Canada. We're out in Chilliwack, and the officer in question is actually located out in Surrey, BC. A lot of you are going to know his name. Jag, I'm going to go to you first, man. What's up? How you doing?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Yeah, we're doing well. We're excited to have you on the show.
Yeah.
First of all, just a quick introduction for everyone. Tell us what you drive.
I drive a Jeep Trackhawk, a 2018 one.
Yeah.
It's a legal car. It's a nice car. It's got a little bit of power into it, but no, it's nothing crazy. It's a nice car, yeah.
I think it's got something crazy on it. I think everyone knows it's got something crazy.
Yeah.
Ali, welcome, man.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, just real quick, what are you driving?
I drive a 2010 Camaro SS.
Yeah,
Yes.
nice and stock, straight from the dealership.
100%.
All right, guys. So you guys both have some really, really specific experiences with officer, constable. I don't even know what to phrase this guy as, but name is Hermes. A lot of people are going to have heard of him, and they want to know what's happened with you guys. And you know, we're not here to bash anybody. We're just here to talk the honest experience and our opinions, and talk about how it's kind of affecting the aftermarket enthusiast market. Everyone's just kind of see that police car behind you, and it's like, I'm getting pulled over. I don't like this feeling, you know.
100%.
So, Jack, to you first. You know, give us a rundown. What happened? What and when did it happen?
Okay, this was maybe like a month and a half, 2 months ago. You know, I was actually, the same day when this event happened, I was actually in court, 8 o'clock in the morning. I was actually fighting off a couple of tickets I had before from different officers, which I'll name unnamed. I actually did not get any tickets that day because all charges were false from the previous ticket. But while leaving the courthouse, I was just going up Guildford area because usually that's where he patrols, right? And I was just driving, no speeding, nothing was going on. It's just a normal day, you know, it was a rainy day, right? Look towards my left, I see this car, right? I'm going straight, he gets the light, he puts it behind me, right? Flicks me over. I didn't think much of a deal of it, car was on, nothing was going on. Car's not really loud at all, right? He pulls me over. First thing he says, he's like, "Oh, hey, nice meeting you again, eh?" First, I've never seen Hermes before at all. I didn't even
This
know
was
who
your
he
first interaction.
First interaction.
Okay.
The first thing he said, he's like, "Hey, nice meeting you again." I'm like, I don't even know who you are, dude. I've never met you.
He just recognized you.
Yeah.
You're a celebrity, man.
He told me to give me his keys. So he took my keys. He made me open my hood up. I had nothing done to my car in my hood. He literally couldn't do anything. The only thing he actually really cared for me is because of my exhaust. It was a cold day. So he did see a little bit of like that white smoke, but that's just because it was a cold day, right? But he starts doing that. Right from the gist of things, he already told me I'm getting my car impounded right away. He's right off the bat.
And you weren't speeding.
Nothing. Like I'm telling you, like I was driving like a grandma. Because my car was actually, it had a little bit of problem with the throttle body, which I couldn't even drive fast. So it wasn't even possible. He gave me, I got probably around 4 tickets, license plate seized, car towed, box 1 the VI.
What was his actual reasoning? Like, what did he say to you? How come this is what's happening?
White smoke.
Because there was white smoke.
White smoke was coming out of the car, so that's all I got.
I don't know, the white smoke.
And it was a cold day. It was like probably it was when it was raining, so it was probably like 8 degrees outside. It was a little bit in the evening as well. So over white smoke, he kind of and it wasn't even like I had all my caps on, everything. Everything was normal. I did have a little bit of a throttle body issue, and he shouldn't have came after that. I went to the dealership vehicle inspection after, and the car fully
Yeah, that's not
cleared it.
If your car has any sort of issue like that, that's not exactly police officer's responsibility to make sure you're. I mean, I'm pretty sure he saw the Ford Tempo roll down the road with 2.5 wheels on it.
Exactly. Right?
They're not getting VIs though, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So that was your major interaction with him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about your background. I remember you were mentioning you researched kind of this side a little bit.
I actually did do criminology for a couple of years, so I kind of know the gist of the laws and what goes on, because I actually wanted to become a police officer myself for a little bit, right? But I started getting bad experiences, especially with the RCMP, starting like 2019, where I just out of nowhere, like, I don't know if it was just the way I looked or something like that, but I was just getting pulled over. Like, I had like a Jeep Wrangler back there, like a stock one. I was getting pulled over, getting tickets for no reason.
Yeah.
Something that small shouldn't lead to, like, me progressively getting tickets over time, me getting on the records, like me not doing anything. I'm just driving like a normal citizen. I'm getting pulled over, right? It's,
Yeah, I think the part that really got to me is, we did that first episode.
Mm-hmm.
We got a lot of feedback. I've had a lot of messages over it. We had a lot of talks with the community beforehand. Yeah. And the interesting thing is, CRU is, very diverse. Every culture is into CRU right now. We've exploded. We've blown up. It's going really great. But the only people that are, talking about the RCMP and the Hermes incident, East Indian. Yeah, so that's where a lot of the comments keep coming, like, hey, how is it such an aggressive ratio? Exactly. So far, it's 100%. I haven't had, any of my Caucasian, Asian friends, even African American friends, like nobody's had a bad experience with him. It's just, constantly East Indian guys. I understand he works in Surrey, and let's face it, there's a large population there. But I just wonder. It would not be cool if that was part of that one officer's motivation, but those stats just look so lopsided. It makes me concerned. Yeah, exactly. Like I told you guys, like I worked with the RCMP, wasn't on the road. I answered the 911s, the call center kind of stuff. Found it to be a great experience, great life experience. This is a long time ago now. But I took that job very, very seriously. I was speaking for the RCMP. I was speaking for, the city of Surrey. So I took those calls as professionally as possible, because I know if I give one bad interaction with the public and they're like, yeah, this is what happened when I called 911, they're going to remember that, and that story is going to spread. And that all led to because of me. If you're in a public position where your public are relying on you to do a certain service, it's gotta go right. So, Elite, hearing Jag's story, how similar is your story to his?
It's pretty similar for me as well. So I was just driving regular day. I managed the 104th in King George Fitness World. Mm. So I drive. So
you're a gym manager.
Yes, I'm gym manager. So I drive down the same route every day. I come up 132nd, take a right on 134th, and from 132nd, and go up to working at the gym. One day this is probably on September 5th. Was driving regularly, and then all of a sudden I see a cop car in the middle lanes, just waiting there with all those windows down. I passed by him, not loud at all. And as soon as I passed him, he pops a UE, lights me up, and pulls me over. So I rolled my window down. I said, "Is there anything wrong, officer?" And he's like, I'm suspecting that you don't have cats," which I do have catalytic converters on my car. And he said, I'm like, "No, I do have them." And then right away, similar to Jag, he tells me to pop open everything. So he looks underneath my car, says, "Yes, you have things that resemble cats." Pulls out the decibel reader. Decibel reads my car.
He actually brought that out for yours, eh?
Yes.
Okay.
Because he couldn't really find anything. Yeah. Everything that I had in my car was legal.
How long was he with you at this point?
For probably good 10 minutes.
Okay.
And then he did the decibel reader. Didn't say really much to me. Went back to his cop car. Came back with a VI, and then he gave me 2 noise violation tickets. So one for excessive noise and then one for modified mufflers and with excessive noise, which is the same ticket twice.
So excessive noise for excessive noise. I don't know.
Yeah.
You got excessive noise on excessive noise.
Yes. One comment that I didn't like about him was he noticed I was the gym manager, and he said that a lot of your members have loud cars. And I said, "No, I know that. I work with the town-owned people across the street, and I truly help out with them." And he was bringing that up with me as well. And then he kind of cut me off and said, "No, you're the problem of what's going on with that."
So he kind of had his own personal judgment, it sounds like, against you when he found out you were the manager of the gym.
Correct.
Yeah. I don't know, guys. This is these are very similar stories to what I've been told over like the Instagram and people messaging me over WhatsApp now with like their stories and what's happened with this one specific officer. I'm sure you guys know about the VPD issue. Yeah. With Kane. Yes. This is like people just refer to him as Surrey's Kane. Yeah. Now I heard Kane retired, by the way. I only heard that recently. I don't go to Vancouver anymore. Yeah. Just like many people, we just avoid it. Yeah. So from Jag, you first again here in the Lee's situation, he didn't break out the decibel reader on yours.
No decibel reader. I still got an unnecessary noise ticket as well.
Okay.
No decibel reader was pulled out at all. I got a ticket for that. Got me a ticket for, what else did he give me a ticket for? He said I had tints on the back, which I didn't have. I had DOT approved taillights. He gave me a tint.
Tint on the tail lights.
Yeah,
Oh,
but I
okay,
don't
okay.
have tint. I had DOT approved custom taillights.
Okay.
So he couldn't really give me a tint. If this is DOT, can't really do anything.
Yeah.
The one thing that surprised me is taking my plates away. I don't even know why he took my plates away, in which he still got me towed. So
How long ago was this?
this was probably a month or two ago. It wasn't too long ago.
So what's happened since then with this whole situation?
I got my car back completely fine.
So how long afterwards?
Probably like a week and a half. Got my car back. So it wasn't really a big of a deal.
Yeah.
I got my license back.
Yeah.
They surrendered it. I got my license plates back. Of course, I disputed all the tickets.
Yeah. So you're waiting on court for
Yeah,
dispute on the
it's
tickets.
course gonna take a minute, right?
Yeah, it takes like a year up here, guys. In case you don't know, it's a long way.
So I gotta wait for that, so I could even talk to the officer and why this happened. But
Well, you're gonna see him.
oh yeah, we'll see if he comes, right?
Hey, listen, I'll tell you what. Crew will go on mobile, and I'll be there with the camera crew.
Yeah.
We'll be there to sit down and film.
We'll have the news people there too as well.
Yeah. With your situation, how long ago was that one?
That was last month.
That was last month.
This is literally shortly after mine, probably like a week after.
Correct.
He was even, we were talking about mine, and then he messaged me a week after. He's like, dude, I got the same thing.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even too far away from my where I got pulled over as well.
Correct. Mine was one on 132nd and 104th.
Yeah.
Yes, it's like from everybody I've spoken to, and like just to get some conversation going on it. I don't have an issue. Like if you drive a heavily modified car that's illegal for the road, or it's close to, it's going to appear like it is, like my car.
Yeah.
It's everything's good about it.
Yeah.
But if I got pulled over and they wanted me to go get it checked, I'm gonna look at that and be like, it's kind of frustrating, but I can understand what the way the car looks. Okay. If you want to give me a no front plate ticket, I'll pay them all year long. I'm not putting on a plate on that car. I'm not drilling holes in that bumper.
Yeah.
But there's lines that, in my mind, police shouldn't be crossing with just the automatic judgment, right? And that's the way we feel. That's the way a lot of people have messaged me, like, hey, he's just crossed the line with some of his comments he's made, like you were saying. Like people are saying, yeah, he like winked and blew me a kiss when he was giving me a ticket, kind of thing. He's in court, and I think one of you were telling me that or was it you guys that somebody told me that he was leaving court, and he was like, hey, didn't I already?
Yeah.
That was yours, right? Yeah, okay.
Before he pulled me over, he apparently already knew who I was.
Yeah.
And I never met the guy.
Yeah.
So like, he's just jumping into, he's assuming, right?
It's that's the thing. It's a lot of weird biased assumptions, and it causes guys like us, and the younger generation of kids that are trying to get into the automotive culture. You see those lights behind you, and especially if you see him, you're just like, I'm losing my car, I guess.
Exactly. I like now, like I'm even scared to drive my car because I feel like I'm losing so much just to even drive this car down the street.
Yeah.
Like if I see a police officer on the road nowadays, I do not even follow him or nothing like that because I feel like
I turn off.
Yeah, I turn off. Like
Yeah.
if I see a police officer, I'll pull into a parking lot because I'd rather not lose my license or anything just because he's having a bad day.
Yeah, I'll give an example. Like when I drive, like we have the Model X Tesla as well. When I drive that, I'll drive next to a police car, and I'm like, I feel fine. I feel comfortable. I'm okay, But I drive my car, and he's next to me. I'm like, left turn signals on straight away. I am going the long way today.
3 second stop,
Yeah.
everything,
Yeah, it's like I'm keeping a large distance away, and it shouldn't. It doesn't need to be like that. That's where our mind in crew is like, how do we bridge that gap? I've reached out to a lot of old friends that are with RCMP or Transit or New West and all the different police departments. Been like, hey, like, is there anybody you can refer us to? Somebody we can talk to? Somebody that can maybe come on an episode to kind of just talk openly about the way things should be, because we're all respectful. Everybody I've spoken to, everybody I know in our community is always honest and polite. If they get pulled over, you deal with it. They'll say like, yeah, I had front window tint. I got pulled over for that. It is what it is. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, well, you can't really argue that if it's against the law here. I mean, there shouldn't be anything wrong with front window tint and no front plate. It's only BC has this strange rule, but we get it. We got to deal with it.
Yeah, but what I've been getting a lot from like my members is because a lot of my members alone, I've talked to about 20 guys who have had VIs from him at my gym, is if he sees something, he uses that to get you on more.
Mm-hmm.
But if he doesn't see anything, he says, I suspect. So I had a friend who had an AMG, which was completely stock exhaust.
It's a good guy. It's a good guy.
Yeah. And he said, I suspect that you don't have resonators.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And he does. And he still gave him a VI because he couldn't look underneath the car.
Yeah.
And so going back to Jag's point, it's like, and your point as well, it's just, where every time I drive, anytime anyone is driving, you're scared too. And unfortunately, I've had some members that would actually had to sell their cars because they were so scared to drive their modified cars. I've had members who every single year, I have a friend who had a Cobra, which is Mustang. He's got a VI every single year he's been out, even though it passes every single time. And he knows it passes every single time. And any time. And he only drove it 4 times this summer. 4 times to the gym. And on the 4th time, he got pulled over and got a VI.
Is it like, I know you said he was like parked in the middle of the street just waiting in your area. Does he just wait in that one area for for everybody to leave the gym?
Yes, he does actually. He what he does, he puts all his windows down and he waits. He waits till any car with just a little noise and then he right away pulls them over and pretty much says, I'm going to get you on whatever I can.
Mm-hmm. So we've all had positive and negative interactions with police. Tell me a positive experience you've had with any police officer.
You must. They do meets up at the Cineplex. Is it Meadowtown one?
Pitt Meadows. Pitt Meadows one, yeah.
There's a police officer that always comes out. I don't know his name.
Yeah, we got his info now. He's got some crew gear with him.
He like we need more of those type of police officers where he comes into more of the car community. He actually he vaguely even says, he's like, you know what, it's fine. You guys have a little bit of fun. If you guys want to make a little bit of noise, it's okay. But you know what? Don't get too crazy. That's what we need. If we have police officers that just, off a little one small thing to completely, just destroy the other car community, just doesn't help out at all, right?
Yeah.
Makes no sense.
What about you? What's your positive experience with police?
Well, I've been at meets all the time, and there's police officers that actually had same car as me and stuff, and they love it, and they start even telling me what they have done to their cars, which their car is enthusiasts as well, and like they're like, I have this done, and this done, and it's the same thing that what Jag says. It's like, you guys have fun, don't do any crazy burnouts or rev it, or be safe and everything like that as well, which is really nice to have those kind of officers. Yeah, because it shows that you shouldn't be scared of them, right? Officers are here to protect and serve,
and that's the way it should be. Like I'll wrap up this segment with one of my own stories of a positive experience. Like I used to have the Nissan 350Z. It was a Veilside show car, orange and black, everything done to it. Very flashy, very loud. Legal for the road. All the cats were there. Exhaust was perfectly fine. Not too low for the road either. It was perfectly fine. I was driving down to my brother's house trying to make it for the football match. I was a little bit late. So I was weaving in and out of traffic. I was going about 50 over. Not cutting off cars. I signal. But I was going left and right. And I see a police car going the other way. He was maybe going 60, 70. I saw the lights turn on, and there's a Meridian in the middle of the road. So I knew he couldn't turn around for a while because this road was under construction. It was a 2-lane highway now. It was a little bit under construction back then, but the Meridian was still up in the middle. So I had a split second to think about it and say, I could just keep on going and take the turn, and that's it. Like he has to go at least 30 seconds drive that way to turn around. And I know he flicked the lights at me. I pulled over because I was like, I've had a bit of bad luck with the car recently. Yeah. Somebody smashed my window. I had a flat tire, and I'm all about energy. So I was like, okay, I'm not taking any bad karma. I was like, I'm pulling over, and I'm just going to wait and see if he turns around. And brought out the license registration and just kind of sat there, listening to some music. He comes flying over the hill behind me, pulls up behind, and comes out. Massive dude. He's like 6'7". I don't know what this guy was doing being a cop. He used to be in the NBA. I was like, you need to bend down more to get to my window. And he laughed for a second, took the stuff from my hand, and he was like, why'd you stop? And I was like, what am I supposed to say to that? And this was a while ago. I was like, this was about 10 years ago now. And I was like, I saw you flash the lights at me. And he was like, yeah, how do you know that was directed at you? And I was like, I was speeding and I was weaving in and out of traffic. And he was like, okay, so you pulled over on your own to wait for me while I had to go turn around to pull you over. And I was like, honestly, yeah. And he looked at me and he was just like, I'm so confused. And he laughed and he was like, you know what? I've never talked to someone this honest before. If you've never had a speeding ticket before and your record's clean, I'll let you go with a warning. And I was like, I've never had a single ticket. So he walked over, came back. We talked about the car for 5 minutes. And I said I was going to watch a football match. He was like, go enjoy the game. See you later. And I drove away just like, and I drove the speed limit the rest of the way. I had my warning, brought me down a notch. But I was like, that dude was pretty cool. No, and that honestly, that was before I worked with the RCMP. That was one of the positive interactions. I have a few. I do have quite a few positive interactions, and sadly negative ones too. I mean, let's face it, we all kind of do. And that's actually what got me interested to be like, oh, maybe I should look at this as a career. You know, I wonder how well I can help out. I also saw it from the negative interactions I had. Maybe I can make a difference. 100%. You know, maybe I can be a voice to change a little bit of the negative perception towards East Indian males, colored people in general, right? That was my thing to try and help with. We all have our different visions of what we're trying to assist with. Now we're in the automotive community, and you know, back then I had lots of negative interactions with that car. I had some positive ones. Is what it is right now. It doesn't seem like anything's changed. It seems like it's gone even more negative than it was back then. Yeah.
Well, that's the biggest thing, and you know what I say is that they shouldn't judge us based on the couple of bad seeds in the car community, right? Car community is like we're a family. We all come together and we have stuff that we built, and we want to show off to each other, right? Because it makes us feel good inside that we spent that time, that money, that vision, and showing it off to everyone. And it's like we don't want to take that away from like kids being so scared to bring that out into the community.
Yeah, and I feel like it's an age factor as well.
How old are you, by the way?
I'm actually 21.
21?
37.
Okay, so 37, 38, 21. A little bit of a range here.
Yeah,
all the same situation, maybe.
I feel like age has a big factor in it too. Me and Hammond were talking as well. One of my good friends. He's actually got really good positive experiences with the police because when somebody looks at like a older person that's actually more educated in the way he speaks, they usually, you know, he's a nice guy, he's a nice person. If you see a young person and he has a nice flashy car, you know, he's also going to jump into conclusions, right? He's jumping in his dad's car, he's driving crazy. You know what does he have to lose?
I've had that comment before.
Exactly, right?
I actually had to buy a border guard. It wasn't actually a police officer. They were searching me for 2 hours at that point. And he said, he made a comment saying, well, I guess it's nice to just drive daddy's car around. Exactly. And I looked at him and I was like, and at the same time, I think I was 26 years old at the time. I was like, I'm not a kid. I'm 26. I work 4 jobs right now just to do this to this car. But anyway, I want to wrap this up. Jag, if you had Officer Hermes here right now at the table, you know, what would you want to communicate to him?
You know what? At the end of the day, it is his job, right? It is his job. But the way that it's enforced, I would like actually sit down and talk to him and be like, why so like often? Like, you know, you have a job, and you know they always say, you know, they got like quotas, right? They gotta get these tickets.
Maybe they do.
Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. I have no clue, right? Yeah. But I would actually talk to him, sit him down, and saying, because he has to have something have happened in the past life that he hates the car community so much. There has to be something around there, right? So you know what? I would sit down with him, have a nice talk, because the way he does talk, he doesn't really sound like a mean person at all. He sounds like a nice person, right? But you know what? I just want to sit down, talk to him, be like, what's happening, right? What's going on? What do you think needs to improve in the car community? Do you think something has to change? Maybe it's something in the system, right? Maybe it's just actual people just doing crazy stuff. You never know. Maybe actually sit down, see his point of view, right? He might have a different point of view because he actually works as a police officer, right?
Yeah, and guarantee he will. He's going to follow letter of the law kind of style. Seems like that's the type of officer he is. If he's in traffic as well, traffic members are like that. But yeah, I think we'd love to have a one-on-one group talk with him and get that side narrowed down, middle ground kind of thing. Would you do something similar?
So yeah, the thing I would say to Hermes is pretty much like what happened in the past, right? And kind of figure out why he does this, right? Obviously there has to have been some event or something that happened that he's reacting this way to all of us, right? And just kind of sit down and kind of educate him on maybe he doesn't know all the laws or all the modifications, everything. For him, he may think everything is illegal. Yeah. Right?
If it makes some noise, it might not be legal.
Exactly.
We don't know where the gap is. Obviously, there's a gap. We need to bridge that gap and try and find a middle ground where, you know, if you have something illegal done to your car and he pulls you over, then that just is what it is. It seems like there's a lot of talk of perfectly legal stuff done to cars that are always just beaten down.
Correct.
By him. That's where the issue is. But guys, I appreciate you both coming out. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences and your stories, the honesty behind it. This is what CRU stands for. We just want to help the community. We want to try and bridge this gap, and we just want honest experiences. So I appreciate it. Thank you all for watching at home. Drop your comments below if you have any questions. If you want to see a future episode on a different topic, just let us know. If you want to be featured on a CRU Cast episode, you know how to get a hold of me. Instagram, email, or just comment below. Appreciate you both. Thanks. We'll see you next time. Looking off this way.